Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the SixSixty Club. Here we are. It's Lockdown 2.0, the sequel, and you know what that means. More quizzes, more banana bread baking, and of course, more 660 sessions. My name's Jeremy Bassett. I'm CEO of CoCubed. And at CoCubed, our approach to digital transformation is to connect corporate leaders with disruptive startups from around the world to drive the industry forward. Here's a 30-second overview of what we do. Okay, there you go. One of the quietest introductions we've had to 660 for a while. So at CoCubed, we have the unusual privilege of working with many of the UK's largest corporates. We see the good, the bad, and the ugly of corporate innovation. And on reflection, the biggest issue with corporate innovation teams is they get stuck in a rut. They stop innovating and their programs slowly dwindle in engagement and in impact. We wanted to make 660 a place where you can learn from other corporates and see case studies of what other companies are doing to champion innovation. We also wanted to expose you to the latest tools and technologies that could help you accelerate innovation across your company. And of course, we wanted to connect you and create a platform where you could meet other corporate innovators and share notes on what's working and what's not. Over the last few months, we've looked at ways to inspire innovation across your organization. We've looked at tools and processes that help to enable innovation and foster collaboration. Today, we're going to be looking at how do you scale innovation across your business. And here's how it's going to work. We'll kick off with some expert insights from Airbus and what they're doing to scale innovation across their network. Then you'll hear quick fireside pitches from our innovation specialists. And then finally, we'll move into the networking zone where you can find out more about the solutions that you've heard today, tap into their insights, ask questions, and meet other club members. If you want to see more details or request a meeting with any of the innovation specialists today, then you can also head to the expo booths right after the event and talk to them directly there. Throughout the event, please use the chat bar on the side, say hello, make comments, or ask questions, and the CoCubed team will be there to help you out. So it's now my privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Dharmesh Shah. He's responsible for innovation at Airbus's Defence and Space Unit. He's responsible for improving the innovation capabilities across Airbus and turning ideas into products and services and new business opportunities for the company. Dharmesh, welcome to the club.
Hi, Jeremy. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Great.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks for joining. So, Dharmesh, why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about your role and what you're actually doing at Airbus?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I've wear multiple hats, but I'll try and condense it down as quick as into a short piece anyway. Otherwise, you'll be here for like the rest of the day. So I'm an innovation manager in Airbus Defence and Space. So it's really what I do is I give an opportunity within my organization for innovation capabilities to be grown, nurtured, and really create that culture within across the organization. And that work involves the pipeline of innovation we have that I set up, and now is a staple once a year call where we collect hundreds of ideas from our internal innovators. So running the program of collecting the ideas right through to coaching the team to take it from an idea right through to entering the market as a new product, new service, new business, etc. Then on top of that, that's coupled with running the pipeline on one side, you've got all the facilitation of workshops to enable that innovation mindset. So to really think about customer-centric design thinking, and other methodologies. And then on the opposite side of the coin, I do a lot on open innovation. So really taking our internal challenges externally, collaborating with startups, SMEs, academia, other primes, looking at partnerships, collaborations, and ways of solving these problems. And to do that, I run a open innovation office out of London, although out of COVID, due to COVID, it's out of my house, my office.
Yeah. Amazing. My goodness, what a role. So open innovation as well as internal innovation, and then the culture, the process, the pipeline, and then facilitating. Big job. Especially when you start to think about defense and space. Of course, like those are two sectors that are synonymous with innovation.
Yeah.
I'm really interested how you actually drive innovation across that organization.
I mentioned we have the pipeline of innovation, and that's just one aspect. We've got we have a map, internal map, and we had to map it out because beyond defense and space, Airbus as its entirety, we have multiple innovation satellite houses or departments that do different things. And we decided we did a process to map it and provide that map to the rest of our colleagues across the organization, so they knew that if there's any type of idea you had, doesn't matter what it is, there is a home for it somewhere, or there's the right person to talk to. And that's just the mapping side of it. But really to drive innovation across the organization, you got the build up. So, really, we started off with a program many years ago that was run on a site-by-site basis to drum up a base of support, which now is our staple base, to creating that as a group-wide or a division-wide call that is now, instead of being site-by-site, it's run once a year. But you got the build-up, which is letting people know the dates, the times, the success stories, really getting the hype going so that people are ready and people are thinking about the ideas. Then providing them with direction, so strategy coming in there, saying, here's our focus for this year. Here's where we want to look for ideas or concepts around. And then it's running the call and being very open about that, in that sense, being accessible, make sure it's accessible to everyone across the organization. Doesn't matter whether you're working in finance, whether you're working on the shop floor, whether you're working in HR or other corporate functions, everyone should have access to it. And then just seeing the types of ideas and being able to discuss it right through to, awarding the successful ideas with funding to develop that further. So it's all give an idea of how the process generally is to drive.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. And I think you'll see some interesting solutions today for like that build-up phase. How do you tell the story around innovation, engage everyone on that journey as well? And then interesting to hear how you drive that forward from a process perspective. Obviously, every industry's been hit by COVID, but aerospace in particular has felt really felt the brunt of the pandemic. Are you finding that innovation's being viewed as like now the big priority in the company, or is it one of those things that is easy to cut and deprioritize or under-resource?
So innovation is a priority. It's always been a priority. If we wouldn't be technologically where we are today if it wasn't for innovation, if it wasn't for new ideas and developing those. And that'll never change. And even in COVID, you could say it's become more of a priority. However, that is coupled with further difficulties. And those difficulties are the reduction in budget, in finances, because of hard decisions the company has to make. So it's about prioritizing, innovation, R&D, all of that side of things still a priority, but how do you do that on a finer budget? And that comes with challenges, but it's still a focus, and we are navigating that, and we are, in some cases, having to make hard decisions, making decisions for the right reasons to enable ideas that we can see legs behind as a market, as success factors that we see, that it's worth putting more effort into those, rather than in the traditional way prior to COVID, you'd throw a wide net and try and get a lot in there. Now we have to just be a bit more focused, but still, innovation is a priority. Just how you go about executing it has to change.
Okay, very cool. And I mean, in some ways, a more resource-constrained environment can be quite healthy for innovation, can't it? In terms of moving faster. Damesh, today's session's all about scaling innovation. Talk to us about what's working and where the challenges are to scaling innovation within a large organization like Airbus.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think that what I'm about to say is probably the same, not just for Airbus. It's probably the same for most large organizations. And this was pre-COVID, and it's probably made even more difficult with COVID. And I guess one of the biggest difficulties is buy-in from the business line. And what I mean by that is innovation is always this little house that has a budget, has a remit to go, spend, create ideas, stuff like that. And that's well and good. And you have all these great ideas. You have this of wonderful new ideas, business, service, product. But then once it gets to a certain point, who takes it on? How does that fold back into the business? How does that fit with the portfolio, the product portfolio, or the direction the organization's going? And I think, you need that buy-in from the business at some point to show that they are behind the idea. It's not just going to suddenly fall on their lap. And then the resources that come with that. So the hours, the extra budget, the manpower, the access to the other corporate functions, whether it be legal, IP, HR, all these sorts of things. So yeah, it's the two things coupled together. It's the buy back in and having the resources are probably the most difficult. And in COVID times, most organizations are focused on core product, core business.
Yeah.
And whilst innovation is still there, working away on the side, and it's trying to fold, into the core business.
Yes. Yeah, that's always a challenge, isn't it? And I think that's one of the things that aims to be solved by one of the first ideas that we're going to see pitched in just a minute. So, Dharmesh, thank you for joining us today. Really interesting to hear about what's happening at Airbus during this period. And thank you for sharing your insights with us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, now it's time to dive into the pitches from our innovation specialists. These are intentionally fast and furious, just 4 minutes each, and they're designed to give you a short introduction. And then I encourage you to head over to the expo booths where you can meet with the presenters, ask some questions, and dig deeper. So let's jump into our first pitch. Accelerator programs have been around for many years now, but they don't often lead to long-term scalable partnerships. Well, at CoCubed, we've got a different approach to turning pilots into partnerships. And to tell us more, please welcome Jess. Jess, welcome to the club.
Hello. All righty. Innovation pressure has really increased steadily over the last few decades. And, having seen how 2020 has unfolded, it's undeniable that the world is changing faster than ever, and that building innovation has become crucial to every organization's growth strategy. And I'm a firm believer in the success of corporate startup partnerships. And through our programs here at CoCubed, we've seen time and time again the ability to solve corporate innovation problems and scale technology solutions quickly and efficiently. So if you've ever wondered how you can scale innovation through fostering startup corporate partnerships, then we might have some answers for you. So I'm going to go straight into it and share with you what are the key ingredients that define our approach when delivering impactful accelerators that scale innovation. Are you ready? All right, on to our next slide. For ingredient number 1, problem-solution fit. This is all about bringing the right solutions to solve the right problems. And where do we begin? We always start with a problem. This is where we begin to uncover a corporate's core challenges, because we are only interested in results that can prove that the startup solution can actually address our clients' innovation challenges. It cannot be a gimmick. It should solve a real pain point. And this is so important to nail from the beginning, because for innovation partnerships to be scalable, there needs to be an optimal match between the corporate's problem and the startup solution. That is where the gap is, and therefore where the opportunity lies. On to our next slide, our second ingredient for our secret sauce to tangible impact is immersive engagement. A great accelerator should have should expose the startups to the realities of the industry, whilst truly immersing them into the relevant business units of the corporate. And that is what enables them to incrementally improve and tailor their solutions as they learn and as they experience the corporate's business firsthand. Now, in parallel to that, we always engage as many stakeholders from the very beginning. In fact, weeks before the program is launched. And quick tip, never, ever, ever forget the procurement folks. Corporates are renowned for having really lengthy internal procedures that are basically not appropriate for small ventures. So our stakeholder engagement strategy is designed to reduce the burden of complex indemnities that are required from the startups by engaging the procurement team early on and fast track the process. And then finally, we provide opportunities for employees to connect and to engage with the founders' mindset throughout the entire journey. And that is what results incorporates harness that basically results corporate to harness the methodologies of the startup, and in the long term, if done consistently, it fosters an innovation culture within the organization. Onto our third slide. For our third ingredient, impactful solution testing, which is fundamentally what accelerators should be all about. When you have the right problem solution fit and secure maximum startup and employee engagement, then you have the right fertile land for the startups to test and to shape the technologies during the entire duration of the program. And this is where they land real, measurable, and impactful proof of concepts. You must ensure that the ventures produce at the very minimum a mock-up of their solution and actually test it with real customers. We help facilitate this process with co-creation workshops that support the corporate and the startups to identify and to validate and to test the desirability, the viability, and the feasibility of their solutions. And finally, every race has a finish line. Call it demo day, you can call it whatever you want, but you basically need something that marks the completion of the accelerator and transition into commercialization. We make sure that every venture crosses that finish line, and this is when basically all pilots are implemented and the startups showcase their results, and the corporate makes a key decision around whether to scale the pilot if it's demonstrated sufficient evidence, or to run another one to get more evidence, or to basically kill the project if it hasn't worked. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. To wrap it up, basically these are the three key ingredients that help increase the chances for startups to scale innovation and their technologies within the corporate. Thank you.
Look, Jess, so what do we have there? Problem, solution, fit, immersive engagement, and impactful solution testing. Three great ingredients. Talk me through, though, what are the sorts of programs that you've ran to apply those ingredients?
Yeah, so I'll talk to you about the latest we have run. Right when COVID hit, we were engaged by LNER, which is UK's leading provider intercity travel, to basically deliver LNER Future Labs, a virtual 10-week program focused on helping world-class innovators to test and scale the innovation with LNER. So firstly, we ran a series of workshops with the commercial experience team, the customer experience team, the commercial team, and the responsible business teams, and crafted 3 briefs that articulated the innovation challenges, and those helped us find the most suitable solutions. So problem, solution, fit, done. And then we basically immerse the ventures into the realities of rail travel, and they got to experience the consumer side, the ticketing side, the marketing side, the operations, basically all firsthand. Whilst at the same time, we also engage frontline employees to be part of the selection process, and also the customer focus groups we run. And all of that, plus a little bit more, basically resulted in LNER delivering 4 amazing POCs within 10 weeks: at-seat ordering, augmented reality in stations, digital rostering for frontline employees, and a test app for door-to-door travel. And Jeremy, if I may, I'm going to end with a hashtag humble brag and share that what we found out yesterday, which is that LNER has nominated us to win the Partner of the Year 2020 Legend Award, which is super humbling and incredibly exciting for us.
Amazing and well deserved. Well, Jess, thank you for joining and sharing the partnership programs. Great solution there to helping to scale innovation within a corporate and solving many of the challenges that I mentioned as well. So thanks for joining, Jess.
Thank you.
So you've run the partnership program, you've successfully landed a whole bunch of commercial pilots with startups, but now you have to manage all of those relationships. And that's often a challenge for innovation teams and their corporate alike. So with a solution to this from BrainIt, please welcome Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome to the club.
Thanks, Jeremy. Very happy to be there with you today. So our mission at BrainIt is quite simple and challenging, because it's really to help you guys innovate faster, innovate in a more agile way, innovate more efficiently, thanks to a dedicated software. And we work today with 100 corporates worldwide that are using BrainIt as their #1 software to manage basically all their innovation in one place. Just to give you a kind of a benchmark of what we know and what we don't know, I talked to 1,003 corporates in the past 12 months to understand their needs, to understand their objectives, their daily tasks. And basically, they told me at a vast majority that to be successful in their role, they need to achieve three objectives. There are three key priorities for them. The first one is to manage all their portfolio in one place and demonstrate the impact of innovation on the business at the group level. So innovation theater has really ended. It lasted for 3 to 10 years in many of corporates because they had to make actions, visible actions. But now top management is really asking to basically build a foundation for the business. Then the second priority for them is to process innovation, is to have a more professional way to manage projects, to align stakeholders, as Dharmesh perfectly explained earlier on. You need to align everyone in the company from day one, because otherwise some people may block you at some point on the project. And then the third priority and the third role they have to perform in the organization is really to help project teams execute. Project teams from the internal organization, so employees, but also external people working with corporate. It's one of the mission of the innovation team to give all the means that you need to success on your project. So these are the three key roles of an innovation team today. And it's very, very difficult to perform them well on all of them. And basically, Brainit helps them address all three in one place. So, and I'm really happy to have this discussion after the pitch. But basically, how do we do this? First, we enable you to centralize all your projects in one place across the organization. Because at the end of the day, the mission of an innovation team is like a VC, right? You need to find the right investment opportunities, and you need to track them and decide on which to double down, which you want to kill, and to optimize your portfolio, to optimize your impact. So that's the first thing we do on Brainit. We help you manage your portfolio, choose the right KPIs at every step of a project, because the KPIs will change along the life of the project. Then we help you structure a project, have a clear methodology. I'm sure at Airbus, Dharmesh has different processes to build product, to build services, to build hardware, software, etc. So you choose, again, it's really customized stage gate processes. And finally, we enable you to concretely help teams by becoming kind of your digital assistant, digital accelerator for a project team to find the right resources at the right time. When I need to work on my business model, I know what document to use, what Canva to use, what expert I should contact. And then obviously you can open up the software to the external world, because again, as Dharmesh said, you need to open up to source new ideas, so you can crowdsource, thanks to Brainit, ideas from your employees, from your customers, but also to execute projects, because on every project you have to ask yourself whether you're going to make or buy or partner, right? So in short, we've built the right software to help you accelerate, scale, and measure your innovation approach. We're trying to higher the bar to help you have a more professional way to innovate, because it's really difficult today to innovate in a large corporate. So you need the right tools to scale and accelerate your innovation. And please, again, feel free to ask me any question you may have on the chat or later on the booth.
Okay. Jonathan, impressive system here, and I can see a huge value of this for many of the corporates on here. Talk me through, I mean, you mentioned you talked to 1,003 different corporates over the last year or so. Talk me through the case studies that you're having. How is this being applied?
Yeah, so I can share with you some use cases. We know that every organization has its own way to innovate, own agenda, own processes, etc. Let me share 3 different use cases that you may find interesting. The first one is a large nuclear company. They're basically centralizing all their projects, all their R&D projects, so not only innovation, but real R&D projects on Brainit, representing dozens of millions in spending. And what they want to do with Brainit, what they're doing with Brainit, is basically to get away from complex Excel spreadsheets, reporting, which is outdated, which is not filled in by teams. Everyone has its own way to to work on Excel, etc. So they want a digital and real-time portfolio management and governance tool on Brainit. The second use case I can share with you, we're working with a large insurance company, and they're centralizing all their projects in 12 different entities. So we're talking with hundreds of people with different use cases, but their use case at a group level is to process and to give a structure to this innovative project, to centralize all deliverable in one place, to make informed decision depending on the stage of the project. And in a few years, they will still use the platform and say, hey, I can now see what we've done 18 months ago on this project. We killed it because of these reasons. We're not going to do the same mistake again. And thirdly, I can share with you another use case, which is more about training people, giving them the means to succeed, like a digital accelerator, like digital tech stars for teams. We're doing this for a large retail company in Brazil, and they use us to accelerate their internal and external startups with a clear methodology, a clear program to give them all they need to be successful.
Very impressive. So it's not just the management, it's also the data and then the infrastructure that provides. It gives people confidence. Yeah, that's quite cool. Jonathan, thank you for joining. We'll catch up in the expo booth right after this, where I'm sure people will have questions and can continue the conversation there. But thank you for joining. So it's on to our third pitch. So you've got the partnerships landing across the business through the partnership program. You're managing and coordinating them through a platform like Brainit. Your next challenge is, how do you start reaching the rest of the business and go beyond to celebrate, scale these relationships right across the organization? And Dharmesh mentioned this as being something that they do at Airbus. Well, to tell us more about a solution in this space and telling the story of innovation from CoCube, please welcome Laura. Laura, welcome to the club.
Amazing. Thanks, Jeremy. Well, we couldn't let this entire presentation go by without at least one tenuous link to the election. So what can we learn from this guy when it comes to scaling innovation? Well, whatever your political views, there's one thing everyone can agree on. Trump does not do modesty. And actually, when it comes to scaling innovation, not being too modest is a really good attribute to have. So we've been helping corporates to work with startups for many years now. And the most successful innovation programs are those who do invest in celebrating successes and sharing the impact that they're having. So why isn't everyone doing it? Well, there's the problem. Innovation teams quite often don't have the time or the resource to focus on communicating this stuff. And comms teams sometimes don't have the subject matter expertise. You know, some of these pilots and partnerships can be a little bit technical and a bit hard to translate for a wider audience. So 9 times out of 10, it just gets deprioritized. So that's where we come in. On the next slide, we provide an outsourced plug and play comms bundle to make sure that the right people, both inside and outside your organization, are hearing about your innovation successes. And here's what you get. You get 3 parts. You get content, so video case studies that communicate the why, the what, the how, and the impact of your startup collaborations. You get community building, so these are virtual or in-person events to help engage your colleagues. And we help you find your crowd, so through curated partnerships with industry events to get you noticed with the right audiences. And these elements all work together to tell an integrated story. I'm going to use the example of some work we did with Vodafone to show you how this works in practice on the next slide. So first of all, the content. So video, we know, is a really great way to get across what can sometimes be quite technical topics in a really engaging way. So here's how it works. You give us a brief about a partnership that you want to shout about, and we'll work with you and the startup to create a beautiful 3-minute case study film to help you to tell the story, fully branded with your brand. We also provide a 30-second teaser film, so you can share that really easily across your channels. The example here is a film we created for Vodafone and one of their startup partners, Vidsy, who we brought together in one of the partnership programs that we ran for them. So on the next slide, next up we have community, and this is all about engaging employees around the business to raise the profile of your innovation program. So how this works, you tell us the audience you want to engage. This could be a specific team, could be a specific market, or it could be much more broad. And we'll craft immersive sessions to showcase your innovation program and successes and some of the opportunities to get involved. And we deliver this in a really engaging format that works for you. It's fully event managed with an injection of fun, whether it's virtual or in person. So here for Vodafone, we brought together 250 of their senior leaders from around the world, and we ran startup pitch sessions and fireside chats with founders to help to showcase the pilots that and help people spot opportunities to scale in different parts of the business. And onto the final part of the bundle. Lastly, we help you find your crowd. So external innovation and industry events can be a really great opportunity to raise your profile in the startup ecosystem. And at CoCubed, we have partnerships with some of the leading events in the UK and around the world. So we find you the right opportunity and then do all the heavy lifting on your behalf. So for Vodafone, what did that look like? Well, we partnered with Unbound London, a fantastic innovation event here in the UK, and showcased their portfolio of startups in a main stage pitch battle. We had a startup alley, and we brought along 100 Vodafone employees to experience the show as well. These events are adapting brilliantly. There's some really exciting virtual formats to get involved in as well. So that's it. Over 12 months, you get this great package. You get 3 case study films, you get 2 community events internally and 1 external event partnership to boost your profile and help you scale innovation across the organization.
There we go. That's a great pitch, Laura, and super interesting to see this coming to life as sort of an end-to-end package. You mentioned internal and external events there as a way to build the community. How's that been impacted by COVID, and should corporates still be thinking about running events?
Yeah, and it's a good question. And obviously the events industry has been, as many industries, pretty disrupted. But the upside of that, there's some amazing virtual formats, really exciting, that are coming out. I'd also say that for internal events, doing these things virtually, it's probably never been more important than ever to bring employees together around something new and exciting and fresh. So we have lots of ways that these events can be run virtually while in person is off the cards.
Okay, cool. Well, look, thanks for joining, and thanks for telling us about how innovation leaders can better tell their story across their company as well. So it's now on to our final presenter. You're now launching and managing partnerships across the business. You're celebrating the success of that with your community. But how do you then nurture that space for innovation and allow that to flourish? Well, a creative solution to that is RollJack. And from RollJack, please welcome Aditya. Aditya, thank you for joining us.
Hey, yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's almost 11 p.m. for me. But it's great to be here.
All the way from Singapore. I'll let you crack on with the pitch.
Yeah. So RollJack is a platform that allows you to unlock the potential of doing design thinking at scale across your organization for a fraction of the cost and time. So you can think of RollJack as the Kahoot for, if you're familiar with Kahoot, for design thinking and innovation. And so I thought the best way for you to understand what RollJack is to experience it firsthand. So being very mindful of time, we're going to do a very simple walkthrough of RollJack, and I'm actually the entire process of how long it actually takes to get started and gets logged in on RollJack. So this is the the main dashboard where you come in, And if you click over here on the top right, we can create different challenges based on what you want to do. Like if you want to just get people's brain juices flowing, do a fun, lighthearted activity, you could run a creative icebreaker. If you want to do something more serious, where you have your own custom design challenges or problem statements, you could throw that into our crowdsource innovation. And then if you're doing specific design methods, you could run a design sprint. And like I think Dharmesh had mentioned earlier about open innovation, and yeah, we also have a module for that. So I'm going to jump straight into our crowdsource innovation, where we have a bunch of different templates. And I'm going to click on the insights discovery, because I think this would be the shortest amount of time we'd need to spend to go through this entire thing. So I'm gonna come up with a challenge that I think all of us here can relate to. What are the challenges with running collaboration or innovation activities online, right? And so that will be our challenge, and all of us on this webinar are gonna come up with insights that describe our challenges of running innovation activities online, right? And I'm going to create some tags here. So it could be like technical issues. So maybe we are facing technical issues or a lack of community. So too little interaction, right? Or how about something like just plain old communication? Right. So I've created 3 tags here, and this is basically what you are going to see on your screen when you join into this game, where you can select tags to tag them to your insights or remove them, right? It's as simple as that. And with that, I'm going to go live, right? And now we're live. So I need all of you to get on either your mobile devices or even on your laptop itself, and go to this URL, RollJack.me, right? So I require, at least one person to join in, because I need one to start. So I need at least one of you to cooperate. So go to RollJack.me and add in this room code and type in, I'm going to lower the volume so you can hear me. So type in the room code and add in your name, and then you'll be in. Okay, great. We have our first person. So I'm going to give you guys just like 1 more minute maybe to just join in, right? So we have 6 people already. I'm just going to wait for a few more to just come in. And yeah, so once you're in, yeah, just hang tight and we'll start in just a second. Okay, if we don't hit any more in the next few seconds, we're going to just begin. Okay, cool. We have at least 10 now. All right, so I'm gonna have to start now. So what happens when I hit start is we're gonna start our challenge, and you're gonna be able to write your insights, but don't hit the submit button until you're done. All right, so hit the plus button to add in more insights, and on each text box, go ahead and type like 3 to 5 words describing a challenge that you face with running innovation activities online. Right, hit a plus to add another insight, but don't hit submit until you are done and ready to submit. Right, so we are about 30 seconds away from the finish. So if you're done, go ahead and hit submit. And we're 10 seconds away from finishing. So if you haven't submitted yet, you should go ahead and submit. If not, it will be auto-submitted for you.
Enjoying the challenge? Let's swap again. This time you will get another.
All right, so what you're gonna see right now is what other people have written, and all you need to do is just read through it, just browse through it. It'll give you an idea of what other people are, thinking and what they're feeling in this session, right? So we have some really good insights written over here. So next up, in the next 10 seconds, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start tagging our insights, right? So you can tag from the tags that I had created, and you can also go ahead and add your own insights. Add your own tags to your insights. So what you're seeing now on your screen are the same insights that you had written, and you can assign them the tags if they fit and if they don't. All right, we're almost done here. So I'm playing along on my phone as well. Awesome. So with that, we are actually done. So I actually messed up. I didn't allow you guys to create your own insights, your own tags to your insights. But what you're going to be seeing on your screen and mine are the final outcomes of our really quick insight discovery session, right? Where we can see a statistical breakdown of all the insights that are created. And on the gallery page, we are basically able to see all the inputs that were submitted by all of us in this room right now, and we can see all the tags that were tagged to them. So really quickly, we know what the most commonly cited issues with running innovation activities online are. I feel kind of I sort of messed up. So over here, if I had allowed you to create your own tags, you'd be able to type whatever you want, because I saw a lot of people had written about distractions, and then distractions would become another category. But just like that, I'm going to stop my screen share. But just like that, we have experienced a micro design activity, and this is so this has been something like an affinity map. There's a lot more that you can plug this into. So you could take the output from this and put it into an ideation session. So we have a lot of different ideation tools as well, which could be like text-based ideas, sketch-based ideas, and we have specific design methods as well, like if you want to run an empathy map, a persona design, or whatever it is. But the overarching picture is about enabling collaboration and creativity in a fun, lighthearted, and gamified manner across your organization. And with RollJack, we envision every organization to be able to innovate better together.
Aditya, well done. I know that's one of our first live demos, and it wouldn't be a live demo without some sort of technical issue there. So thank you for showing us that. But RollJack, super cool. And I think, especially during COVID, this is an absolutely necessary tool for a lot of, not just innovation teams, but any team really to use. Aditya, why don't you talk us through those? what are you seeing? How is this being used by different corporates? How is it a tool that's perhaps really came at the right time?
Yeah. Right. So I've been running, so I hold an adjunct position with one of the universities here in Singapore, Singapore University of Technology and Design. And I've been running a bunch of corporate training programs for design thinking over the past few years. And in 2020, like we haven't been spared from the disruption, like all our workshops have also been disrupted. So now the contingency plan for all innovation going online is using web conferencing, like Zoom, WebEx, or whatever it is, and then using digital ideation platforms like Miro or Muro. Now the hurdle has become like a fourfold problem, where the number one is like keeping people engaged, and two is getting people actually on the platform, and then third is actually doing the activity, right? And fourth is like having tangible outcomes. So so RollJack sort of is trying to trying to basically address all of these issues at the same time, where we have a seamless so in the time that I've been talking, we could have run like another challenge again, right? And it's gamified in a fun environment to allow people not to get disengaged or bored, and also not to feel overwhelmed, because a lot of people don't feel like they are part of the innovation team. They don't feel they're innovative, but I think everyone innovates. It's not just the innovation teams. Everyone engages in some form of collaboration. And with RollJack, we can even move this like upstream. And I think Dharmesh mentioned like a problem with like the core business and innovations always at like the fringes, right at the outskirts. And with RollJack, we could empower even like our core business teams or our sales team to better understand client needs and tailor more user-centric solutions, or marketing and development teams to collaborate, right? And it's all about, you know, creating that ecosystem and building the ground-up innovation culture in organizations. And I think, and you're right, I mean, we've been building this for the past 18 months, but because of all this disruption and everything going online, it's just become a more opportunistic time for RollJack to be, you know, to be used. And work from home may become work from anywhere forever, right? So, and we envision RollJack becoming that the tool of choice for remote teams to collaborate.
Very cool. Well, look, thank you for joining us. Thank you especially for joining us so late in the evening there in Singapore. And like I said, please do check it out.
Thank you.
RollJack.com. All right. Aditya, we'll see you later. And that's it. Thank you to all of our 4 speakers for those pictures that have hopefully given you both some inspiration, but some practical ideas to help you inspire and scale innovation across your organization. Before we move into the next part of the event, just a quick reminder about our next sessions that are coming up. On the 3rd of December, we're going to be looking into how do you fund innovation. We've got a really interesting session lined up for you there. If you're interested in things that are not just so much about innovating for innovation, but perhaps marketing innovation, then on next week, we're going to be joining forces with MadFest and bringing you some of the hottest marketing and advertising tech startups that are shaping the industry. And they're going to be pitching to brands like Diageo and McCormick for the chance to engage in a 20K paid pilot. So that should be really interesting. That's happening next week. And of course, you're more than welcome to join any of the other 660 sessions that we run across the month, focusing on things like mobility and retail as well. All right, you've heard the pitches. It's now time to head off into the networking zone, where you can share ideas, ask our presenters any questions that you might have, and explore opportunities to deploy their solution within your organization. So please do head there now. The expo zones are open. That's where you can talk to the presenters, the networking. You'll also be able to meet other members there as well. There's some really cool members as part of 660, so do take the time to meet with them in networking. And then finally, if you've got any other questions on how we can make these sessions even more useful to you, then please do drop me an email at jeremy.bassett@cocubed.com. But for now, thank you for joining, and I'll see you in the networking zone.